Wow. If we thought that the predilection of so-called journalists and politicians to use layer upon layer of out-of-context quotes and pure fabrication was going to stop, if we thought the Chinese water torture of baseless demonizing would end because politicians might show a shred of integrity, we were mistaken. Get this. While in Iowa, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren just claimed that Donald Trump curries favor with white supremacists and is responsible for the El Paso shootings, never acknowledging the real culprit or, to remain consistent in her blame game, mentioning that the Dayton, Ohio shooter supported her. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and indeed, the unethical legerdemain is as old as the polis itself. Demonize the opponent and steer clear of substantive debate about rights and the nature of the state. But today, I think it's really been taken to a new level. It's been industrialized and turned into an alchemical science by postmodern politicians and journalists. So, let's do a quick review of some of the tricks of the trade by seeing how pop media hacks and power-hungry politicians have built their month-upon-month narrative that Donald Trump is a racist.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. The President of the United States is racist.
Now, one can disagree with Trump on many aspects of his immigration policy, but that doesn't require reading into Trump's statements to paint him as racist. This is the guy who opened his club Mar-a-Lago to non-whites, flipping the wigs of many so-called elite who lived in the area and actually changing the face of many of the clubs in the area itself. And yet the politicians and reporters who want Trump out continue apace. Hence, we see a guest on a talking head show actually making the crazy claim.
The president said that we will fly our flags at half-mast until August 8th. That's 8-8. The numbers 8-8 are very significant in neo-Nazi and white supremacy movement. Why? Because the letter H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and to them, the numbers 8-8 together stand for Heil Hitler.
Unbelievable. And now we get to talk about that paragon of political pandering, Massachusetts Senator, Democrat Elizabeth Warren, who, while in Iowa, said of Donald Trump,
he's a man who cozies up to the white supremacists. He calls them fine fellows.
Which is, of course, untrue. It's an absolute mischaracterization of the Charlottesville statement, and, of course, runs very well with the narrative that's being constructed by the pop media and the politicians, and actually fits quite well with Hitler's pal Joseph Goebbels, who said, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus, by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. And Warren also said,
he's talked about trying to get brown people and black people out of this country.
Which also mischaracterizes Trump's position and injects race into what Trump has repeatedly said is an issue of criminality and security. And again, one need not agree with his push to further federalize the border in order to debate him. Just discuss the Constitution without falsely demonizing the man. How about that? You know, Warren then moved on and said,
he's talked about shithole countries. This is what he's done, the wink and a nod.
And then she culminated with this gem, claiming that Trump is responsible for the actions of a completely different man.
He can't keep trying to stir this up, give aid and comfort, be embraced by the white supremacists, and then say, oh, but not me. No, he's responsible. He's the President of the United States.
Which is, of course, completely false. Trump is not responsible for this in any way. Each person is responsible for his or her own actions. When Warren lays blame at Trump's feet, does she also accept responsibility for the murderous actions of the Dayton shooter who killed 9 people? I mean, after all, he was an avowed Warren supporter and an advocate for political attacks on the right to keep and bear arms. Will the pop media call her on her hypocrisy? How about when Beto O'Rourke made a media display of comforting an El Paso Walmart employee rather than taking him aside to talk privately about his thirst to take guns away from peaceful people? Will the pop media mention that he was surrounded by guards with guns? It's utter hypocrisy layered upon the seemingly shameless MO to try to mislead people in order to gain power. But even as we feel this frustration, at least we can recognize an important principle to take away from this, and that is each individual is responsible for his or her own actions. To think otherwise is to reject the very notion of God-granted individuality and self-will. This is extremely important in this world where collectivists are continually trying to take away one's rights and to say that other people can control the way you think and act. Something to keep in mind. And of course, something to help us get away from feeling so frustrated over people like Elizabeth Warren. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For MRC-TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.